Grace's plan.
Do not eat bad foods. Take care of my teeth. Listen to Mom. Do not be pressured by friends to do something I do not want to do.
Up until a few days before Halloween, Grace Gigglehorn was smack in the middle of everything. She was smarter than half her class, and not as smart as half her class. She was taller than half her class, and not as tall as half her class. She was wider than half her class, and not as wide as half her class. Then she saw skinny Skylar eating a very colorful and interesting looking food.
What's that, Skylar?
What?
What you're eating?
Candy corn.
Candy corn? You mean like sweet corn?
No, I mean like candy. As in delicious. Pure sugar, 100% whey, all fat, all calories. And I bet you can't eat just one.
Dared Skylar.
Why would I want to eat pure sugar? Do you know what 100% pure sugar does?
It makes me 100% happy.
Declared Skylar.
Happy?
Challenged Grace.
Will you be happy when your teeth rot away? Will you be happy when the dentist stuffs a giant drill into your mouth? Will you be happy when your tummy grows and grows until you blow up like a big brown bear in summer?
How could these sweet little triangles do all that?
Skylar lovingly patted her petite tummy, then popped 5 more pieces of candy into her salivating mouth. She munched and with joy until all the candy had wiggled and waggled its way down to her belly. She smiled at Grace and said,
Girl, you don't know what you're missing.
Sky waited for Grace to beg for a piece of the amazing candy, and waited and waited. Tired of waiting, she pulled a giant handful of candy corn from the bag and slowly passed it in front of Grace's eyes, then nose, then mouth. When Grace stood frozen, Skylar lifted the bag of candy as high as she could and poured the precious candy over Grace's head. Grace eyeballed the candy as it bounced off her and down to the ground. She was about to pick a piece up when she heard a familiar voice coming from inside her head. It was the voice of her mother. Don't even think about it, girl. You will gain 10 pounds just looking at that garbage. And it's on the ground. Dirty. Germs. Dirty. Then another voice chimed in. It was a gruff, deep, commanding voice.
Eat it. It's delicious. I want it now.
This voice belonged to her tummy, her very hungry, very curious tummy. Grace did not know what to do. She hovered over the candy for what seemed like hours, but was really only a couple of seconds. Then the voice of her tummy returned. It was less demanding, softer, kind of friendly even.
Try one tiny piece. How much bad stuff can one little pinch of coated sugar do? Come on, we've eaten giant slices of cake and didn't have any problems.
Grace's stomach made a good point. What harm could one piece do? Grace picked up the smallest, safest piece. She brushed the germs off, then rubbed it against her shirt sleeve to be doubly sure. She thought the extra rubbing may have even scraped off a few calories. Grace slowly lifted it to her mouth. She gave it a good sniff. It smelled kinda good, really good, irresistible. She opened her mouth and put the morsel on the tip of her tongue. Her tongue took over and passed it to her teeth, first the left side of her mouth, then the right side of her mouth. Her teeth, her gums, her tongue, her taste buds had never tasted anything so scrumptious. Quicker than a cheetah, she snatched the rest of the candy corn off the sidewalk. This time, she paid no mind to the germs or calories. She threw all the candy into her mouth and chewed until her tongue was lapping around her mouth, looking for more. Grace's stomach growled. Grace didn't know if it was saying, "Thank you," or demanding more. A minute later, when her stomach growled again, she knew it wanted more. The more her stomach demanded, the more Grace gave it. As it grew, so did its demands. She did not know how to deal with it,
Oh, just give it what it wants.
advised Skylar.
We're kids. We should have what we want.
That made sense to Grace, at least to Grace's stomach. Starting that day, she began saving her lunch money for trips to Sally and Sam's sweet shop. She passed the sweet shop on her way home from school, when she went to Skylar's house, and on trips to visit Grandma. Before craving candy corn, Grace never had to pass by the sweet shop. Somehow, some way, her stomach had come up with these more scenic, safer routes. Her stomach told her the extra walking would be good exercise, keep her healthy, but really the extra walking kept her hungry for candy corn. In less than 3 weeks, Grace's stomach totally took over. It owned her. She wasn't even aware her stomach was giving her orders. The only time she was aware of her stomach was when she wore jeans and her stomach hurt because they had become too tight. One day, Grace's best friend, Zemo, came up to her when she was leaving Sally and Sam's with a pound of candy corn. Without saying a word, Zemo slapped the bag right out of her hands.
Zemo, why did you do that?
Because I love you.
Zemo said, shocked by his own public confession. Skylar and several other girls started giggling.
Well. Maybe we should leave you two alone.
Quipped Skylar.
Maybe you should just leave.
Little Zemo shot back. There was such a fierce, sad, and determined look on Zemo's face that Skylar and the other girls ran away as if they had seen a monster. Meanwhile, Grace was down on her hands and knees gathering up the scattered candy. When she got all the kernels back into the bag, Zemo smacked it out of her hands again.
What are you doing, Zemo? Saving your life.
Zemo answered dramatically.
Have you lost your mind?
No, you have lost weight. At least you stopped using it to think. Your stomach does your thinking.
I want what I want.
Growled Grace in a gurgling voice that could only have come from her stomach.
Did you hear that?
What?
Asked Grace.
Your voice.
What about it?
Grumbled Grace's stomach.
That's your stomach speaking. You sound look like a stomach.
Zemo blurted.
That's the most horrible thing anyone has ever said to me.
Screeched Grace in a voice more like her own. She looked like she might soon cry. Zemo did not want his best friend to cry. He did not know what to say. After several seconds of awkward silence, Grace asked,
Are you saying I'm fat?
Zemo's father had taught him to never tell anyone they were fat, especially a girl. Zemo's mom taught him never to lie. This left Zemo in quite a quandary. a state of total confusion.
Well,
Grace asked, practically daring Zemo to call her fat. While Zemo wrestled with how to answer the question, Grace reached down to grab some twice-grounded candy corn.
Zemo's quick feet beat Grace's hands to the candy and smashed every piece into the pavement.
I'm going to hurt you.
Growled Grace's stomach. Even Grace could not believe what she heard coming out of her.
did you hear that?
Asked Zemo, praying Grace would say yes.
OMG!
Shouted Grace in her own voice and the shorthand of texting.
My stomach has taken over.
Maybe not, said Zemo.
Because that's you speaking again.
Silence.
Snapped Grace's stomach.
And give me $3.21 right now.
Why?
To buy me another pound of candy corn. Now.
No way.
Zemo stood strong.
Now or I will tell everyone in school you wear diapers.
Threatened Grace's stomach.
I don't wear diapers.
Zemo ranged back.
And that you stuck your thumb.
Warned Grace's stomach.
But
And you root for the Dallas Cowboys.
Rooting for the Dallas Cowboys may not sound like a terrible thing, but living within 20 miles of Philadelphia, that could get a guy seriously hurt. Clearly, Grace's stomach would stop at nothing. Zemo could either give up on saving Grace from her diabolical digestive system, or he could stay strong and save his friend from this infuriating beast of a belly. Zemo considered punching Grace's awful stomach to teach it a lesson, but he was afraid it would hurt Grace. He certainly did not want to do that, and he didn't want to risk getting thrown out of school, grounded for life, and a whole bunch of other things that would break his parents' hearts. Instead, he looked Grace in her belly button and snapped.
listen up, big bad bully belly. You can make up all the lies in the world, but I'm not gonna let you ruin my best friend's life. You lived without candy corn for 6 years. You just had to live without it again. Cause anytime I see Grace go her with candy corn in her hand, it goes down away and grind it to smithereens.
When Zemo was finished, he looked up and saw Grace, his Grace, with a bright smile on her face.
Thank you.
Grace spoke the words softly, but they were so genuine that Zemo knew he had done the right thing. On that day, Grace Gigglehorn learned that good friends have your back and great friends have your stomach.